Meet Shelley Lubben, wife, mother of 3, ex-prostitute, drug addict, and alcoholic. The star of a handful of long-forgotten porn videos from the 1990s, Shelley is now an anti-pornography crusader and self-described rebel prophet of God. Here's Shelley's story in her own words.
As a survivor of the porn industry, I contracted human papillomavirus and herpes, a non-curable disease which later led to my battle with cervical cancer, where I had to have half of my cervix removed. I also battled with severe anemia due to the hemorrhaging I experienced for 12 years. In fact, I'm still battling with damages to my reproductive organs. I have suffered much at the hands of the porn industry. But after 8 long, hard years of recovery, and by the grace of God Almighty, I escaped that hell, and today I'm here, a mom of 3 beautiful daughters, married to a wonderful man, a godly man who stuck by me in my horrible recovery. I had the perfect life. I want you all to know that the last thing I want to do, people, is talk about porn. But my compassion for those people who are in modern-day slavery right now. I was overwhelmed, and so I went back to the industry, and I began to reach out to them. And of course, I've been called every name in the book you can imagine. But that didn't stop me, and I founded Pink Cross Foundation, a nonprofit organization that reaches out to adult industry workers, offering help, a way out, education, friendship. We go to the porn conventions, we go to nightclubs, and heck, I've even sang porn star karaoke to them.
That's Shelley's version, and there are many who dispute it. But who is Shelley Lubben? How did she get here? And what the devil does she want? Shelley Lubben was born Shelley Lynn Moore on May 18, 1968 in Pasadena, California. The firstborn child of Charles Dennis Moore and Sally Lou Harwell, who had married 2 years earlier in 1966. Little Shelley would soon be joined by 2 siblings, a sister, Stacy, born in 1970, followed by a brother, Christopher, in 1974. The Moores raised their new family in a middle-class home on this street, in the small Los Angeles County suburb of Temple City, population 30,000, and attended church in nearby Alhambra, California. In 1977, the Moores moved to the quiet nearby suburb of Glendora, nicknamed the Pride of the Foothills. 9-year-old Shelley was angry about having to move away from her friends and classmates. But there was something else amiss. Shelley began hearing voices at age 7, when Jesus told her one day she'd be famous. By age 9, her parents had stopped taking her to church. According to Shelley, her own mother called her very peculiar. But that wasn't how Shelley saw it. Shelley always felt her parents were remote and inattentive, and young Shelley craved attention. She dreamed of the loving, idyllic home life she knew she deserved. Shelley began making up wild stories about men trying to kidnap her, but she would eventually come clean and nothing would change. Her mother still called her peculiar rather than talented, and her father still spent his spare time working in the garage. By turns lazy and hyperactive, and unhappy competing with her baby brother for mom's attention, Shelley was a difficult child to manage. Sally Moore resorted to using the television as Shelley's babysitter. So Shelley watched.
I would say I noticed in 8th grade I was always kind of a fat, ugly kid with glasses, and I had lost a lot of weight because I had joined the drill team in high school, and I got contacts, and boys started paying attention to me, and it felt so good to have the male pay attention to me because I wasn't getting that fatherly attention. And next thing you know, I was just looking for love. And in senior year, I was getting all C's and D's and actually closer to F's, and I was cheating. I cheated my way through high school. I officially do not deserve my high school diploma, but that's how smart I was. I could cheat my way through. I was a nightmare as a teenager. So I began having sex, smoking pot, drinking alcohol, just partying. And my dad basically said, listen, if you don't get your act together, I'm going to kick you out. And I was about 18 years old, almost 18.
But Shelley didn't stop. She had her driver's license suspended for reckless driving and was caught stealing from a local store.
I had already learned to become a hustler in high school. So imagine what I learned on the street. Now I'm a con artist. Now we're learning how to rip men off, how to get their money. The madam taught me how to manipulate and con men out of every last dollar, how to get exactly what I wanted from a man. And I loved it because I got all the attention I ever wanted. I got all the attention I ever wanted. I loved it because I got all the attention I ever wanted.
When you get down to the nitty-gritty, here we see the two things that were, and to this day remain, the two most prominent points on Shelley's personal compass: money and the limelight.
The foundation of all of Shelley Lubben's arguments against the adult film industry is that during her approximately 1 year in the business, she contracted 2 sexually transmitted diseases, herpes and HPV, which later caused a host of horrible medical problems, including miscarriages and other reproductive organ issues. Lubben now claims that all of this can be traced back to her time in porn, from age 25 to 26.
I caught up with Shelley when she was a guest at the UCLA School of Law panel on condoms in the adult film industry. And I raised the issue of her having been a prostitute for 6 years prior to getting into the porn industry. And what she said was this:
I never got an STD until I did porn.
What? Is that because
sex as a prostitute?
I had protected sex as a prostitute. The problem is that same month she'd been a guest on the Howard Stern show, and she admitted that condoms leak and break, and that she once had a client bleed on her face from his penis. And there's a video where she tells that story too. Listen to what she says about her time as a prostitute.
Working as a prostitute, giving blowjobs, that's right. Did I say that word? Giving blowjobs on the street where men have ejaculated on my face and bled on my face at the same time. I didn't take care of myself. I hadn't even been to the doctor since I had a baby. That was the only time I ever went to the doctors. From age 18 to 26, I went to the doctors 1 time. I got pregnant by tricks 3 times. 2 out of the 3 times I had miscarriages because my reproductive system was messed up from all the multiple partners I was having. And how many times did clients spray condoms on me? Too many times. 2 of the times ended in miscarriage because I was so physically unhealthy, because we don't go to the doctor and we don't go to the dentist. There's no time for that. It's all about the money. I was diagnosed with high-risk HPV when resulted about 5 years after the industry, so I walked around without even knowing that I had this. And the number one reason for getting HPV, what the doctor told me, is for having multiple sex partners.
So according to Shelley, she was a prostitute for 6 years before getting into porn. She was a prostitute as a porn star, and she was a prostitute shortly thereafter in 1994. And that's not multiple partners?
I met a madam who said, come live with me in my exotic home, and we pull like 10 to 15 tricks a day.
6 years versus 17 movies. Where's the higher number of partners? And the idea that she was having safe sex as a downtown LA hooker is just ludicrous.
His name was Tuggy, and I met him at a downtown Los Angeles taxi dancing club where the girls dance with guys for money. And he said he would give me $200 to have sex with him at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. He took his clothes off and right away wanted to get on top of me. I'm like, whoa, you need to use a condom. Me being young and naive didn't know that that would pose a problem for an Asian man. In the line of work that I did, we came across oftentimes European or foreign men or Asian men where the condom did not fit them. In this case, the condom did not fit him, and it was very difficult to put it on him because he was smaller than an average man. And I kept trying to hold the condom while he was moving, penetrating me, and it ended up falling off, and he ejaculated all over me. It was too late. He had ejaculated on me and in me.
I was pregnant. I told him, but he was a drug addict himself, and he was crazy, and he was a crazy Chinaman, and so he threatened me that he was going to take the daughter away from you. And
I've had several miscarriages due to the trauma in the industry. I had hemorrhaging for 12 years and severe anemia. I have suffered much at the hands of the porn industry.
We really are not the disease-carrying petri dishes that everyone keeps claiming that we are. We should be studied as a group, but no one wants to study us because then the truth comes out. The truth comes out that we are not that we're healthy. Yeah, we catch things. Let me tell you something. You think you're not catching things at home? I have friends that are married to the same man, the first man they ever slept with, and all of a sudden they get a disease. I wonder where that came from. They didn't do anything. So what is it that you're trying to claim? That just because we do this? No, but we're very aware of our bodies. I can tell you right now, any change in my body in any way, shape, or form, I know within an hour. Not days, not weeks, not months. I had a friend who unfortunately also was married and her husband cheated on her. She was walking around with a disease for 6 years and didn't know. That would never happen here. You know, the CDC claims that there's 16,000 people in Los Angeles alone who are HIV positive and do not know it. That doesn't happen in the porn business.